Hollywood, the land of dreams, built on a foundation of secrets. Think you know everything about your favorite stars? Think again. We're about to strip away the glitz and glamour to reveal the shocking truths lurking beneath the surface. Get ready for an eye-opening journey into the dark side of fame where scandals, betrayals, and jaw-dropping stories rule. Drop a 1 in the comments if you've got the courage to face the unfiltered reality of Hollywood. Humphrey Bogart, Hollywood's iconic tough guy, cemented his legacy with the timeless classic Casablanca. His portrayal of Rick Blaine, a world-weary American hiding a heart of gold beneath a hardened exterior, stands as one of cinema's greatest performances. What's even more intriguing is how Bogart's own personal life during the film's production reflected the same emotional guardedness and skepticism his character embodied. Behind the scenes of this romantic classic, Bogart wrestled with his own inner demons, which seemed to deepen the disillusionment of his character, Rick Blaine. While his luminous co-star Ingrid Bergman sought to build a closer connection, Bogart kept his distance, preferring quiet moments alone with a game of chess rather than socializing with the cast. Rumor has it, he ignored Bergman off-camera, a reflection of the personal struggles weighing on him. Adding to the complexities, their noticeable height difference required clever camera work and creative tricks from the film crew to preserve the undeniable on-screen chemistry. Bogart's stormy third marriage to actress Mayo Methot added to an already tense atmosphere filled with intense arguments made worse by his growing dependence on alcohol. Things became even more strained as his relationship with actress Lauren Bacall, who would go on to become his fourth wife, began to flourish. These personal dramas, along with frequent clashes between Bogart and the tough, demanding director Michael Curtiz, created a high-pressure environment on set that somewhat ironically may have actually added to the realism of his performance. While Charlie Chaplin's on-screen character brought joy to millions through his trademark comedic roles, his personal life was often controversial due to relationships with much younger women. His first marriage was to Mildred Harris, a young actress who was just 16 when they tied the knot, while Chaplin was almost 30. Their union began amid legal concerns about her age and led to the birth of a son who sadly passed away in infancy. Chaplin's second marriage to Lita Grey also started when she was only 15. That marriage resulted in the birth of 2 sons. However, his third marriage to Paulette Goddard did not result in any children and eventually ended in divorce. A major turning point came when Chaplin, at the age of 50, began a relationship with Una O'Neill, the 17-year-old daughter of renowned playwright Eugene O'Neill. They got married once Una turned 18. This pattern in Chaplin's romantic life, favoring much younger women, seemed to reflect both his desire to hold on to youth and his wish to continue having children. His marriage to Una was the longest of his life, and she gave birth to 8 children, bringing his total number of children to 10. Even though Chaplin had an undeniable impact on the world of entertainment, his personal life was marked by complicated and often troubled relationships. His last wife, Una, who was almost 40 years younger than he was, survived him by only 14 years. She battled alcoholism and depression, likely brought on by taking on the roles of wife and mother at such a young age. Una stayed by Chaplin's side until the end, a choice that may have been influenced by their large family. Chaplin often took pride in showing off his many children to visitors at their estate in Switzerland. The recurring pattern of pursuing much younger women, enjoying their best years, and then losing interest points to a complicated dynamic. While Chaplin appeared to take pleasure in these relationships, it's hard to gauge the emotional toll they may have taken on the women involved. Becoming a father one final time at 73, Chaplin may not have had the energy needed to be fully present in the upbringing of his youngest kids. These relationships may have helped him feel younger, but they might have also played a role in Una's early emotional and physical decline. John Wayne. A legendary figure from Hollywood's golden era, was known not just for his strong conservative beliefs, but also for his powerful on-screen presence. His blunt, no-nonsense attitude sometimes sparked clashes with other actors, including some fiery disputes with fellow icon Clark Gable. Interestingly, despite their political differences, both men shared a love for flying. Gable even had a civilian pilot's license. One major clash happened during the filming of the 1953 Western Hondo, directed by John Ford. Any potential for teamwork between Wayne and Gable quickly fell apart due to Ford's constant jabs at Gable's looks and age, which fueled a tense set environment and frequent arguments. Things got even worse when Ford's disrespectful behavior extended to Gable's co-star, Ava Gardner. In one shocking incident, Ford actually threw a lit cigarette at Gardner, which pushed Gable over the edge. Outraged by Ford's treatment of the cast and his complete lack of concern for others' feelings, Gable stormed off the set several times and ultimately cut all professional ties with the director. John Wayne's daughter, Asa Wayne, detailed the long-standing tension between Gable and Ford in her book, John Wayne, My Father. She explains how the feud dragged on for years, with John Wayne remaining loyal to Ford, which led him to make unkind remarks about Gable, even though he didn't personally dislike him. While Wayne may have acknowledged Gable's good looks, he was openly critical of Gable's intelligence, once saying Gable is a fool. Do you know why Gable is an actor? Because that's the only job he's smart enough to do. This quote, though, showing Wayne's opinion, also highlights how the film industry often blurs the line between intellect and acting ability. The release of Christina Crawford's memoir, Mommy Dearest, in 1978, sent shockwaves through Hollywood, demolishing the polished image of her mother, the legendary actress Joan Crawford, and exposing a painful truth about abuse. The book reveals a sharp contrast between Christina's harsh reality and the glamorous persona her mother had carefully crafted. Rather than the dreamlike childhood one might expect from the daughter of a Hollywood icon, Christina's life took a tragic turn when she was just 13. Her once idealized view of her mother was destroyed during a terrifying incident where Christina recalls the horrifying details of being strangled, punched in the face, and having her head slammed into the floor. This traumatic memory has remained vivid for her over the years, underscoring the life-threatening violence she endured. The chilling nature of the incident was further intensified by the sharp contrast between Joan Crawford's public persona and the private nightmare Christina suffered. Joan Crawford was a beloved Hollywood icon with a career that spanned 5 decades. She shared the screen with legends like Clark Gable and Bette Davis, becoming a major star in the 1940s and winning an Academy Award for Best Actress for Mildred Pierce in 1945. Yet behind the glamorous life and the image of a perfect family in their luxurious Los Angeles mansion, Christina was exposed to a completely different, far darker reality. For years, whispers of Joan Crawford's unpredictable behavior and violent temper circulated through Hollywood, often fueled by her fierce rivalry with Bette Davis. Published a year after Joan Crawford's death, Mommy Dearest became Christina's platform to reveal the truth. She accused her mother of being a sadistic perfectionist, battling alcoholism and prone to sudden violent outbursts. The memoir painted a disturbing image of Joan as a woman who used her power not to nurture, but to control her children, imposing her will with an iron fist and meting out severe punishments for even the slightest transgressions. W.C. Fields, known for his distinctive red nose and unique speaking style, was a man of contradictions. He rose to fame as a gambler with a legendary poker face, and was also one of the world's best billiards players in his youth, a skill that later helped supplement his modest vaudeville earnings. While many saw his persona and his exaggerated disdain for children as part of his stage act, Fields undeniably had a mischievous charm that made him one of the most influential and lasting comedic forces of his era. Unlike Chaplin's heartfelt emotions or Keaton's bold physical comedy, Fields' humor explored the darker sides of human nature. He was unafraid to express repressed desires, small frustrations, and the hidden turmoil that we often conceal. Fields found comedy in our flaws and transgressions, making audiences laugh, while also leaving them uneasy with his antics and politically incorrect remarks. While his on-screen persona brought endless laughter, Fields was famously known for his short temper and high standards off-screen. He fiercely protected his comedic timing and was notorious for clashing with studio executives who dared to meddle with his creative process. The combination of his comedic brilliance and his complex, often difficult personality has become an inseparable part of W.C. Fields' legacy, adding an enduring layer of mystery to the man behind the laughs. Marlon Brando, despite his iconic status, has often been overshadowed by the tumult of his relationships with women. Rita Moreno, who endured an intense yet troubled 8-year relationship with Brando, painted a picture of a man filled with flaws. In a conversation with Jessica Chastain, Moreno revealed the emotional abuse she suffered at Brando's hands, which ultimately led her to attempt suicide. "We had a relationship that lasted almost 8 years, and it was interesting to be with Marlon. Oh my, it was interesting. He was extraordinary in many ways, but he was a bad man, bad in how he treated women," Moreno recalled. She also spoke about Brando's controlling behavior, which not only plagued their personal life, but also extended to her career. Brando tried to sabotage her by spreading damaging rumors about her with a powerful director. These allegations were further intensified by explosive accusations from Maria Schneider, who starred alongside Brando in Last Tango in Paris. Schneider accused Brando and director Bernardo Bertolucci of coercing her into performing an unscripted, non-consensual sex scene, leaving her feeling violated and exploited. Moreno's courage in speaking out even after Brando's death highlights the importance of confronting abusive behavior, regardless of the perpetrator's fame or status. Amid the chaos of World War II in October 1942, a shocking accusation was leveled against Hollywood heartthrob Errol Flynn. The Australian actor, known for his swashbuckling roles like Robin Hood, was accused of raping a teenage girl, a scandal that rocked the film industry. Flynn, who had captivated audiences since his breakthrough in 1935 with Captain Blood, now faced 3 rape charges. These allegations were linked to supposed encounters at a party in Bel Air and aboard his yacht, presenting a stark contrast to the romantic image he had carefully cultivated on screen. The scandal tarnished the reputation of a man who was not just a film star, but also a notorious playboy, once claiming to have seduced over 1,000 women. The case quickly became a sensational Hollywood drama, drawing attention to the stark contrast between the sacrifices of soldiers on the front lines and the seemingly carefree lives of the elite during a time of wartime austerity. Flynn's lavish lifestyle and the alleged actions brought to light a troubling disconnection. His legal battle, which centered around the complexities of rape laws, played out as a public spectacle highlighting the power dynamics at play during Hollywood's golden age. In her candid memoirs, The Lonely Life, 1962, and This and That, 1987, Bette Davis offered an unfiltered look at her life and career, going beyond the narrative presented in the 2017 TV series Feud, which mainly centered on her infamous rivalry with Joan Crawford. Interestingly, Davis's relentless drive for excellence was not fueled by a thirst for fame, but by a complicated relationship with her father, Harlow. Rather than being a patent lawyer, Harlow was a notorious divorce lawyer known for his cruel demeanor, which likely influenced Davis's ambitions. In a poignant moment from The Lonely Life, Davis recalled a humbling experience with her father under a sky full of stars. "Do you see all those stars up there? There are millions, millions of stars. Remember this and you'll understand how unimportant you are." This harsh lesson instilled a profound sense of determination in Davis, motivating her to prove her worth and strive for greatness in her career. Davis's journey was filled with obstacles, particularly from studio heads like Jack Warner and her rival Joan Crawford. Davis was blunt in her portrayal of Crawford, describing her as selfish and manipulative, with rumors suggesting that Crawford used romantic relationships with powerful men to further her career rather than focusing on the working conditions during the filming of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. Davis recounted how Crawford's insecurities drove her to constantly seek reassurance from the film crew about her appearance, intensifying the already strained relationship between them. Bette Davis's influence stretched far beyond the silver screen. Her fierce independence and refusal to conform to Hollywood's rigid norms challenged the industry's strict rules. Rather than discussing retirement, Davis famously declared that her passion for acting was, "I won't retire as long as I have my legs and my makeup box." Her courageous spirit and steadfast dedication to her craft continue to inspire generations of Hollywood artists and individuals outside the industry. Jerry Lewis, the iconic comedian renowned for his legendary partnership with Dean Martin and his tireless work with the Muscular Dystrophy Association, led a life filled with both extraordinary success and profound personal struggles. Known as the Prince of Darkness of comedy, Lewis experienced a tumultuous journey marked by a difficult childhood infidelity, battles with addiction, a suicide attempt, public feuds, and serious health issues. While his comedic brilliance left an indelible mark on generations of artists, including Jim Carrey, who famously said, "Jerry's comedic DNA is in everything I do." Lewis's inner turmoil often cast a shadow over his career. Beneath the laughter and fame, however, a darker side to Jerry Lewis's life emerged. Allegations of cruelty and abuse, particularly from his youngest son Joseph, surfaced. Joseph claimed to have suffered continuous physical and emotional mistreatment from his father, which ultimately led to a fractured relationship between them. Jerry eventually severed ties with Joseph, and tragically, Joseph passed away from a drug overdose in 2009 at the age of 45. Jerry's response to his son's death was marked by silence and a conspicuous absence, underscoring the complex and strained family dynamics. In a rare moment of self-reflection, Jerry admitted to struggling with feelings of guilt over Joseph's death, saying he had tormented himself thousands of times. Lucille Ball, the undisputed queen of comedy, made a lasting impact on the entertainment industry. However, behind the scenes during the filming of Here's Lucy in 1971, specifically the episode Lucy and the Mountain Climber, a side of her personality emerged that many found difficult to digest. Rather than focusing on the mountain climbing storyline, the episode became infamous due to a conflict between Lucy and her co-star Gail Gordon. The tension arose from Lucy's insistence on using her personal hairstylist instead of the studio's designated one. The episode also featured Tony Randall, who had recently gained success with The Odd Couple. In the episode, Randall portrayed a mountain climber whom Lucy's character sought to overcome. While working with Ball, Randall quickly realized that many viewed her as a challenging person to collaborate with, known for her controlling nature and outspoken attitude. This trait even extended to her demand for close-up shots in her contract, underscoring her perfectionist tendencies. Despite these challenges, Randall recognized that Ball's strong personality was a key element of her comedic genius. He explained that while her assertiveness could be difficult at times, it was also vital in creating an exceptional show. Spencer Tracy, a Hollywood legend with 2 Academy Awards and numerous accolades, hid a personal life full of struggles behind his on-screen charm. While he cultivated a public image as a devoted husband and a devout Catholic, Tracy was also known for being a notorious womanizer, and he faced allegations of sexual predatory behavior, all carefully concealed from the public eye. His reputation as a ladies' man was an open secret in Hollywood. Director Joseph Mankiewicz famously remarked, "No one at MGM had more sex than Spencer Tracy." His romantic escapades included famous stars such as Emma Lie, with whom he shared sizzling chemistry in several films, as well as Bette Davis and the strong-willed Joan Crawford. However, more serious issues arose around allegations of harassment. Irene Dunne, his co-star in A Guy Named Joe, described Spencer Tracy as rude and rigid, recounting an incident where his behavior crossed the line and led her to file a complaint with studio head Lou B. Mayer. There were also rumors that Tracy's constant drinking and quick temper resulted in physical altercations on set, shedding light on the darker side of his personality. His actions went beyond typical infidelity as he aggressively pursued Ingrid Bergman, a woman who was married with children at the time, showing a blatant disregard for boundaries and societal norms. Greta Garbo, the enigmatic silver screen legend, was celebrated for her extraordinary talent, but beneath her iconic on-screen image lay a ruthless personality that often surfaced in her interactions with others. This was especially evident in a notorious encounter with Mary Davies, where Garbo's behavior exposed a chilling indifference that went beyond her public persona. During the filming process, Garbo unexpectedly visited Davies' film set, observing the work for about 30 minutes. When Davies tried to reciprocate the gesture, she was met with a cold rejection from Garbo. Later, when Davies visited Garbo's set, the famous actress abruptly halted filming and demanded to know who had dared to interrupt her work. Davies attempted to explain her presence, saying, "I knew, but Mrs. Garbo came to my set, and I thought I should return the gesture." However, Garbo's response was cold and indifferent. "You are very funny, you make me laugh. I didn't come to meet you, I came to meet a real actress, Zasu Pitts." This harsh remark left Davies in tears, but Garbo remained unmoved, showing no empathy. As Davies left, Garbo delivered a final cruel blow: "You're nothing." This incident, recounted by Davies herself, revealed a side of Garbo's character that was not merely eccentric or antisocial, but also deliberately callous, shocking even those within Hollywood. Rather than attending a social gathering, Garbo chose to spend the evening playing cards with infamous mobster Bugsy Siegel, highlighting her unconventional and sometimes controversial social connections. Garbo's actions during this encounter exposed a personality whose fame may have concealed a darker, more vicious side, cementing her reputation as one of Hollywood's most controversial figures. In 1938, Frank Sinatra, one of the most iconic figures in music known for his signature fedora and captivating stage presence, found himself entangled in an unexpected legal mess. He was arrested on charges of seduction, a serious offense in the conservative society of the 1930s, accused of leading an unmarried woman astray. Although the case was eventually dismissed, the incident led to Sinatra spending a brief time in jail, revealing a rebellious side of his personality that would continue to define him throughout his life. Sinatra found himself in more legal trouble later in 1938 when he was arrested for adultery. The woman involved was married, which only added to the complexity of the situation. Although the charges were eventually dropped, Sinatra spent 16 hours in jail before being released. Interestingly, this incident coincided with the release of his first solo album, The Voice of Frank Sinatra, marking the start of his legendary career. Meanwhile, J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the FBI, known for his conservative views and his pursuit of individuals suspected of being antisocial, began to take an interest in Sinatra. Hoover opened an FBI file on Sinatra, which eventually grew to more than 300 pages, detailing every aspect of Sinatra's life, from suspected ties to the mafia to concerns about his potential communist sympathies. Although the FBI found no substantial evidence against Sinatra, the file remained secret until his death in 1998. During her marriage to Steve McQueen, which lasted from the 1950s to 1970, NYY Adams saw the darker sides of the legendary star's life. Their relationship was deeply strained by McQueen's constant infidelity, with rumors of affairs with co-stars like Natalie Wood, as well as his struggles with various addictions, particularly to cocaine. One shocking incident highlighted the extreme volatility of McQueen's personality, as his addiction pushed him to dangerous extremes. Although Adams tried to distance herself from her husband's drug use, McQueen, with his charismatic charm, relentlessly pressured her to partake. He said, "I wish you wouldn't fight me. I promise a little cocaine will make you feel better. I don't want you to feel bad whatever happens, you're mine." As the night wore on, the cocaine-induced paranoia intensified, with McQueen irrationally accusing Adams of infidelity. When she accidentally mentioned an imaginary lover, McQueen became enraged, pulling out a gun and pressing it to her temple, threatening her life. He said, "You better talk, or you won't live to see him die. I promise I'll find you." Kirk Douglas, born Ishur Danovich Dembski in 1916 to Jewish immigrant parents from Russia, rose from modest beginnings to become a Hollywood icon. His journey parallels the evolution of American cinema. Beyond his iconic roles, Douglas played a crucial role in the industry, particularly in challenging the Hollywood blacklist. As a key figure in the production of Spartacus, he boldly hired screenwriter Dalton Trumbo, a blacklisted individual demonstrating his commitment to artistic freedom and helping to dismantle the Hollywood blacklist. However, after his death, allegations emerged regarding a sexual assault incident involving a young actress, Natalie Wood, in the 1950s, threatening to tarnish his legacy. Some reports suggest that the incident occurred at a Hollywood party hosted by director Nicholas Ray, where Douglas was said to have taken advantage of the 16-year-old actress. While these allegations remain unverified, they continue to spark controversy on social media platforms. James Dean. The iconic figure, famous for his roles in films like Rebel Without a Cause, is often immortalized on postage stamps. Yet his true personality stands in stark contrast to the idealized image commonly portrayed. Donald Spoto's biography, Rebel. The life and legend of James Dean doesn't shy away from presenting him as a complex and difficult person, shedding light on a darker side that was challenging to reconcile with the widespread admiration he garnered. Rather than simply focusing on his lack of professionalism, Spoto delves into Dean's complicated relationships, such as his affair with Rogers Brackett, an older radio producer, which fueled rumors about his personal life and complicated his public image. Dean's behavior was often erratic, and he gained a reputation for carrying a pocket knife, and on one occasion placing a live cow in director Nicholas Ray's office as a prank. This incident highlights his tendency toward impulsive and reckless actions, further deepening the complexity of his character. Even Rock Hudson Dean's co-star in Giant had a strained relationship with him, describing Dean as difficult to approach, rarely smiling, constantly brooding, and lacking in manners. Despite these accounts, Dean maintained his rebellious charm, and his tragic death at 24 in a car accident only solidified his loyal fan base, with his life being romanticized in the media, including the Beach Boys song "A Young Man Is Gone." However, not all depictions were flattering. In 1993, conservative journalist George Will criticized Dean, suggesting that his character in Rebel Without a Cause contributed to the social unrest of the 1960s, portraying him as a frustrated, immature young man who constantly felt sorry for himself, like a victim of neglectful parents. Nonetheless, Dean's personality remained multifaceted, blending both his charm and flaws in a way that left a lasting impact on pop culture. However, Dean's personality was multifaceted. He was creative, intellectually curious and ambitious, but also manipulative and selfish. His passion for speed and recklessness, both on and off set, ultimately foreshadowed his tragic end. Actors who worked with Dean shared stories that revealed his darker side. Vaughn Taylor, who co-starred with Dean on television, remembered him as rude, self-assured, and surly. Dean's unprepared movements on stage often caused chaos, disrupting other actors and angering directors, further highlighting the complexity of his character. In the late 1950s, Hollywood was captivated by the scandalous affair between Elizabeth Taylor and Eddie Fisher, which became even more shocking when Fisher, who had been a groomsman at Taylor's wedding to producer Mike Todd, became romantically involved with the actress as she mourned Todd's tragic death in a plane crash. The situation grew even more tense when Fisher was married to America's sweetheart Debbie Reynolds, who was also Taylor's close friend. This love triangle sparked a media frenzy, making it one of the most controversial relationships of the time. When Taylor and Fisher began their relationship, public criticism was largely directed at Fisher, who saw his career crumble due to canceled contracts and was labeled a betrayer. Their marriage lasted 5 years, but cracks appeared just 2 years in. Taylor and Fisher divorced in 1964, but the drama didn't end there. The story continued when Taylor began a passionate public affair with her Cleopatra co-star Richard Burton. Their tumultuous relationship stirred up a media frenzy, making headlines and captivating the public for years. Did you know that a beloved comedian was once accused of domestic violence, or that a teen idol was arrested multiple times for drug possession? We want to hear your thoughts. Which revelations shocked you the most, and why? Join the conversation in the comments below, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more insider content uncovering the truth behind the stars.